So welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I will be giving some ideas and theories and predictions for the upcoming Scream movie, Scream 5, that will be coming next year. Now before I get into the video, make sure you smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. And I just want to talk about my theories and just all kinds of different things. But before I do continue, check out this awesome fan made poster. This is cool. This is cool. I love this poster. And that should be the actual title. That should be the actual title for the new Scream movie, which leads me into my next thing. Whatever this Scream movie is, can't talk. If this movie is a direct sequel to Scream 4, or if it's going to do a Halloween 2018 and it takes place 25 years after the original, whatever it does, I don't see it being called Scream or even a Scream 5. But yeah, very cool fan art poster. Love this right here. But yeah, let me go ahead and get into this video. So yeah, that kind of, like I said, the whole title, I don't see it being called Scream or even Scream 5. It would actually surprise me if they actually did it. It would actually surprise me. If they, just straight call it Scream, like just Scream. You know what I mean? That would actually surprise me. But, some of my theories for Scream is, it's simple. The first and the most one that I feel like, there's a high possibility. I feel like there's two high possibilities here. But the first possibility for me would be just a direct sequel to Part 4 in basically serving what Wes and Kevin, wanted to do. A lot of people don't know this, but Scream 4 had a entirely different ending. What Kevin Williams and Wes Craven was planning was to do a trilogy. They was going to do back-to-back movies, before Wes Craven got sick and sadly passed away. But why the Weinstein Company was like, no, we want Scream 4 to be a standalone movie, and Scream 4 is what we got. Scream 4 is a good movie. I think it's got more love, but I would love to see an original ending, because Kirby was most definitely going to live. It was going to end on a cliffhanger ending. My what I'm thinking, we was gonna probably get a Scream the following year, which would have been awesome to have two Screams back to back. But that's just a little side note. That the Scream 4, the original ending, there was no hospital scene in that. So they could do a direct. Of course, they're most likely are doing a direct sequel to Part 4, and not just doing what Kevin and Wes left up on, but retconning the original ending. That's a possibility. They could just, obviously just pick up right where the franchise left off, or they can retcon Scream 4's ending and go with Kevin Williamson's original vision and bring Kirby back and do everything that was in the original intent. Maybe even show like a flashback scene that was never in Scream 4, and basically that would take out the ending of Scream 4, that whole hospital scene. The whole hospital scene was pretty good, but this ending would have been way better. So I would have liked to seen that, because what happened in Scream 4, again, a lot of people don't know this, I'm going to talk about, because I'm going to talk about it more in my review for Scream 4, but what happened in Scream 4 was, again, like I said, the Weinsteins and Dimension Films, they wanted Scream 4 to be a standalone. They wanted the franchise dead. They wanted to reboot it. Yeah, the whole Weinstein companies basically brought new writers in to basically rewrite the whole ending and just kick Kevin Williams to the side, which is very disappointing. So that's one theory and one thing that they could do, and it is a possibility, is retcon Scream 4's ending, which I do not have a problem with. I do not have a problem with that. That's going to make some people angry, but it's fine if it makes some people angry, because I would like Kevin Williams' original vision of what he wanted and what Wes would have wanted. And I think Scream, as a whole, the next Scream movie, it's really going to be a love letter to the fans. And really a love letter to Wes, to what he would have wanted. You know, I think Scream is called Deliver something special. I think it's called Deliver something special and unique. But Scream is so. I feel like making a Scream 5 is hard because what are you going to title it? Because I've said it before, I don't see them calling it a Scream 5 or a Scream. I don't see that. How do you come up with this big, plan of, how's Cindy coming back in this? How's Dewey? How are you going to come up with creative kills? This franchise needs some new creative kills, and needs to amp up the blood. Well, Scream 4 was getting there with the gore. I feel like that's the thing that, that's something, in my opinion, Wes would have wanted. Now, I know that's the, again, not knowing the man, but I'm just suggesting that that's what he would have wanted, was more blood and gore throughout the franchise and a more in-depth story. Because Scream 4 did have a in-depth story with lots of blood and lots of gore, which was the goriest Scream movie up to that point. So make Scream 5 or whatever it's called, make it the goriest one that you can, because I think Wes would have wanted that kind of. I think he would have wanted that because the way Scream was, the way Scream 4 was laid out. So I feel like that. Like, Wes would have wanted that too. So I think that's going to be the hardest thing, story-wise, gore-wise, kill-wise. What do you do here? And the theme. Each theme movie has a each Scream movie has a theme. So if each Scream movie has a theme, there's some options that you can do here. The first option would be the biggest one, really the only one I can really think of, if it is a direct sequel to 4. I keep saying direct sequel, obviously because of what I just said, retconning the original ending and, all that. And I say for another reason, which I'll get into in a minute, controversial, but I think it's going to happen. But, it's... Now I forgot what I was saying. But, anyways, I just see Scream being something special and really a love letter. And I hope it's done well. I have faith in, these new directors and writers and Paramount and Spyglass. I have faith in them. I do. But, it's... I feel like it's a hard task. Like, it's a really hard task to do. Because... And that's the thing, too. Like, whatever you do, whatever you decide... here's the thing. However you decide to make a direct sequel to Scream 4, if that's your route, then cool. If you do a Halloween 2018 route, which I will get into in a minute, if you do that route, you're going to have to set the future up of the franchise. There needs to be 2 more or 3 or 4 more movies. And I say that because this franchise is too early to reboot. Because we just had a TV show reboot, which no one wanted at the time. Everyone wanted a new movie. So we had that reboot TV show. Then we had another TV show. That TV show was a reboot of the TV show. And it only got us a 1 season, but they called it season 3. But it wasn't season 3 because you get what I'm saying. It's way too early for a Scream reboot. Scream 4 is not as fresh. Scream 4 is not as fresh and relevant as it was, let's say, in 2015 or 2016 or 2017. But those 2 television shows of Scream, they're still fresh. They're still relevant. You know what I mean? The recent one, which they call it season 3, but it's not, but whatever. That one came out last year. And it was originally supposed to come out, I believe, in 2017. So, there's that. I feel like it's too early to reboot this franchise. This is, a franchise that doesn't need to be rebooted. I'm not joking. It does not need to be clean slated. It does not need to take another stab, no pun intended. It doesn't need to take another stab at rebooting until 2027, 2031 at the latest. just because it's too early. You know, give these characters that we already know some more screen time, some more love before you introduce a whole new everything. Because that's the thing right there. Scream is a reboot in itself, because once you start to get to the point of, okay, we have to kill Cindy off, we have to kill Dewey off. Once you get to that point of, oh, it's time, that isn't your next sequel. It's technically a reboot, but it is in continuity. Again, a very interesting ideal for a Scream reboot, thinking way ahead and, makes people angry, but, it's just something, it's just a thought, I feel like a very interesting ideal for a Scream reboot would be, what if it is a reboot? What if it is a reboot, but it is in the continuity of the original films, but it is a reboot, meaning you would never see the original characters pop up, but this, Woodsboro and everything exists, but what this is, I think this is clever, actually. I think more people would get on board with this reboot than just some random killer popping up in a town and kind of doing what they did in the 2 television shows. More in line with what they did in the, season 3. I say it in quotations because it's not season 3. But what about this for the future? Once they wrap up this timeline, whatever they decide to go with, what if you do a so-called where these murders, and I feel like Wes Craven would have written something like this. What if you have a Scream movie set in a different town, set in a different town and in a different place, but it's not Woodsboro, like I said. It's a whole different town. It's another small town, but these murders have gone worldwide. Think about it. Real life serial killers are worldwide. So you look at what Billy and Stu did, right? They're the biggest killers of the whole franchise. Then you have the other killers from 2, from 3, and etc. Right? And obviously, whatever whoever the killer is going to be in Scream 5 and Scream 6 and Scream 7. So this reboot will serve as a clean slate while staying in continuity. But how it stays in continuity, because these murders that these killers have did, especially Stu's, can't talk. Especially Stu's and his murders are very well known, and people love them because people are obsessed with serial killers. So you can have that as a theme, because every Scream movie has a theme. And to start off that reboot with kind of like a, you know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be kind of interesting, to see a Scream movie where the original movies are in the timeline. It is in the timeline, but it is in a reboot form, just in a different town. I think that'd be kind of interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I would not mind seeing that. I would not mind seeing that. Like, just have somebody obsessed with, like, one of the killers or all the killers, and you know what I mean? I think it'd be kind of cool. And maybe even set it in, in the 90s, because, 90s nostalgic is really coming heavy, like how 80s nostalgic was a big thing in 2016, 17, 18, and really hot in 2019, and now 90s nostalgia is really creeping in. So what if you have a Scream movie set, what if you have a Scream reboot, set in, obviously, because here's the thing, of course, if you have it set in the 90s, right, you can't do the, timeline that I'm saying, but it's interesting, it's just that there's so many things you could do with the future of Scream once this time, and even the sequels, there's so much stuff that you could do even with the sequels. Like, it's really exciting to me what they could do, and to me, Scream is really the only one of the few franchises that can actually do unique things and play around with a lot of things. Really, the only franchises that can do that is Friday the 13th and Scream, in my opinion. They only can play around. Now, I'll be making a part 2, but I left the best theory and prediction for last, and that is this new Scream movie will be a direct sequel to the first one or the second one. And what I mean by this, it will be doing a Halloween 2018. Now, I just reacted to a trailer that kind of set up what this could be, and I dig it. What if this new Scream movie is not what we think it is? It's going to be a direct sequel to the original. That's going to make a lot of people mad, but will make a lot of people happy, because Halloween 2018 did it. That was a success. Think about this. That's a big trend in horror right now. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre is supposedly going to do it. I think Hellraiser is going to do it if they still get to make that movie. If you know why I say if they get to make that movie. So it's interesting to see that this is a trend in horror. So could Scream go down that route? Think about this. Picture this. 25 years later, these killings started turned up. Cindy has to come back to her town. There's this new group of kids. She has to come to protect these kids 25 years later. I just came up with the whole synopsis right there if they decide to do the Halloween 2018 route. And basically, Sidney Prescott becomes Jamie Lee, Laurie Strode, basically. That's what she basically comes, and it's 25 years later, and she has to conquer Ghostface 25 years later. Retconning Scream 2 and Scream 3 and 4. Yes, that's called be, kind of a mixed bag, but I think it'd be something special. And Wes, is a fan of reboots. I've said it before. He had a hand in The Hills Have Eyes. So if the script is good and respectful, I think he would like this ideal. And it was something. I think it's something that he would have did, and I would not mind that. I would not mind that. And again, what if you take part of the original Scream 3 draft? Okay, so the original Scream 3 plan was to have Stu alive. What if you used that for parts of this new movie? You take Kevin Williamson's original script, right? You take part of his script and you use it in this movie. Basically, Stu's alive. Stu's alive. He lived, right? He lived, and there's like this cult, because that's what I believe, like, the majority of the original Scream 3 was going to be about, was like this cult. Stu was alive. Not an actual cult with like witches and everything like that, but you know what I mean, like a cult that was like worshiping him. It was like a cult that was like worshiping him and like just believed in everything he did. What if that's it right there? Scream 2021 takes place 25 years later. It's a direct sequel. Sidney Prescott has to return to protect these kids. She finds out, big twist, cliffhanger ending. Stu's alive. Stu's alive. That's a big twist ending. I think we need 2 big twist endings in this movie, and that'd be one big twist kind of at the middle. That Stu's alive, and towards the end of the movie, you find out who the killer is. There's not 1, 2, or 3. There's about 4. There's about 3 different killers in this movie, and there's possibly more still out there, because there's this cult. There's your 4 to 5 movies right there. If you do that, I would not mind if they make a direct sequel to the first one, but you take that element of the original Scream 3 script. I think that would be very, very respectful as well, because that's what Wes wanted for Scream 3, but it didn't come for fruition. So that's interesting to see what they could do with that. But I think that's interesting. And Randy, obviously Randy would be alive, so he could come back. You could have all these. I think it will be a nostalgia trip more than anything. And think about this. If they actually do what I said, like having Stu alive and all this, he survived the TV, all that, what if the theme of this Scream movie could be real life horror serial killers? Because people are obsessed with serial killers. So what if that be the theme of this Scream movie? That'd be really different. But I think it would make it stand out, because that would basically be the theme of this movie. There's lots of ideas. That's why I'm going to be making a part 2. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. What do you think Scream 5 could even be? Make sure you hit that like button, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for part 2.